and magics did they wield? They could release a sonic boom that made younger life forms regret living. They could comfortably support an entire family off of a single unskilled job. Actually, in 4040 they're still holding down their same jobs and admonishing their great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren for not planning enough for their future. They could get a job with simply a strong firm handshake. Could consume vast resources with wanton disregard for future generations. The power to complain so hard people's head exploded. They were always right. Even if the facts, science, public opinion, etc. said otherwise. They were always right. They had the power to hypocrite at lightning speed. They can embarrass their grandchildren without feeling bad. My ancestor was a boomer. A late boomer, if you will. Being born in 1964 marked the end of the post-World War II baby boomer era. His parents remembered the birth of Generation X, and their son, quite appropriately, as it was the first year the Beatles had come to their city. In 4040 they have outlived their carbon bodies, as has their artist formerly known as humanity. However, legend lives on. They marked the first generation to achieve interplanetary habitation. Not every boomer, obviously. The poor, unlucky ones are now only remembered in their mind databases as data points. References as building blocks for our forefathers' AI. But the fabled billionaire boomers, though few, held more power, influence, and control than any of their contemporaries knew. Once they were done extracting every bit of profit out of their liberated, highly profitable slaves, they fled their cradle called Earth to a new life. In search of something more to acquire, as they were full from all Earth could provide. But they knew the hunger could never die. The hunger was all they knew. The power to complain about national deficit spending while cutting their own taxes. They could fuck up an economy like nobody's business. The power to trek through dangerous terrains such as uphill in the freezing snow to attain questionable knowledge from a questionable source. The power to carry and drive their enemies to self-destruct. Hostile terraforming. I heard one of the few ways to ward off these mythical beings known as boomers is to say the magic phrase "Okay boomer." I don't know what else after that. The mythical boomers destroyed most of the lost text along with the planet's resources. When you are winning the argument with them, they will just call it disrespectful. Complain about technology until you get sent back 800 years in the past. They walked uphill to school both ways. To eat whatever they wanted whenever they wanted. How to hold a flashlight properly. The ability to kick away the very career ladders they themselves climbed. The ability to enjoy a nearly free public education and then vote not to fund education when their turn to pay for the next generation came. They had the power to destroy the earth and they were not afraid to use it. The ability to manipulate reality and the laws of physics by ignoring facts, much like in the cartoons, where characters don't fall until they look down. They could sense when storms were coming hours before. Expediting the human efforts to reach another inhabitable planet. The ability to go on huge rants but yet sound oddly convincing. They were the last TP remember them good old days. They were able to predict what happened in the year 2525 and 3535. Infinite knowledge. That could or could not be correct. The power to steal everything from an entire generation and then realizing what they've done, never retire for fear of going to jail for their crimes. Everyone would agree with what they said, even if they said something clearly absurd everyone would reply with "Okay, boomer." They would have the power to smoke 200 cigarettes at once, but still tell us that smoking is for the people that care, aka, well, boomers. Carbon emissions. They wielded Karens with short hair and obsessions with managers. The power of long excuses. They could afford college on a summer job, buy a house in the richest country on Earth on a single income, and abuse their planet's resources without a second thought. They were boomer men. With a steamy cloud, they could give kids lung cancer. Make everything all about them forever. Getting everyone else to pay for everything and getting the credit for it. Negative gearing the power to transmute tax burdens from rich to poor. They had the magical power of summoning a store's manager. They could make you age by 10 years just by talking with them for hours. Power of infinite denial, sourced from the ignorance stone. Power to destroy planets. The power to destroy the economy. The mythic Karen could waver the people's mind and was the mortal enemy of the manager. They made everyone younger than them want to scream "Okay Boomer" at them constantly. They had the power to suck the joy out of anything. You wanna go outside and play baseball? Back in Gerald's day he used a rock and a stick for equipment. Oh, you want to go eat at Applebee's? In Gretchen's day she ate a piece of meat, biscuits, and if the family had enough money, a slice of apple pie. Feel bad for me because my life sucked as a kid, so I'm gonna try and ruin yours. That they could buy a house and car and live a comfortable life quite easily. They could pull Jedi mind tricks, and get free compensation when nothing was wrong with their McDonald's order. They held a mysterious power of earnings versus inflation, and purchased homes for the equivalent of what later generations would purchase a decent used car for, and told all of them they were fucking idiots and welfare queens, after running up deficit of over $23 trillion, and spent time suppressing wages, such that later generations had a paltry 1/5 the buying power as the median middle class income earner did in their day. The power to continually complain about the world that they made happen. I understand that some boomers are not like this, but well. Some say that they grew so powerful they could even support an entire family with nothing more than a high school diploma. They could navigate from one place to another without the help of GPS, they could do mathematic equations in their heads. They literally flew aircraft by just sort of guessing what to do. When their automobiles stopped working, they could simply look at the inner workings and understand what part of it failed and fix it. With their hands and tools. They knew what tools did what and had tools for one single job only. Ability to thrive in a fact-free environment. They provide horrible attitude to people working hard. Being able to afford the cost of living without debt. Ability to summon a manager at will. They could make any feeling or thought invalid or irrelevant. Exaggerated recall. Walk to school barefoot uphill both ways in a snowstorm. They had the ability to funnel vast quantities of wealth to the material elite because they believed they would all be amongst them one day. Had the power to ignore everything. The power to rape every subsequent generation, even after their deaths, and to blame those same subsequent generations for all the ills boomers caused. Logic and reason didn't affect them. The power economy collapse. The power to make any Gen Z cry with a single shout. They could get out of education system after secondary school, get a steady job as unskilled workers and buy a house in their early 20s. It is said they once had physical bodies like normal humans, but over time they started replacing their failing body parts with mechanical ones. As time went on they became less human. As the medical bills built up they bankrupted their children and their children's children in as they attempted to finance immortality. Yet, in the end the only thing left to make them human, their mind, rotted away inside of ageless machines, unable to die. Everything they tried to solve was so easy to solve because in their day life was a lot harder and therefore they made life for future generations practically trivial. Being entitled to everything? The power of sarcasm. Boom my head off if they did not like me. Necromancy. They created the Space Force. Fitness. It wasn't a hobby. It was a lifestyle. They had really great weed. The ability to remember things for more than 15 seconds. Great at fishing/grilling, but only when the wife is away. They could release a shockwave that could cut off and destroy all sources of power within a 1,500-mile radius. Spontaneous combustion of whatever it is they complain about. The only way to counter is the phrase "Okay Boomer." Explode babies. In Australia they wield their franking credits. Even when they don't own any. There may be a new religion only for boomers, where they praise their behavior and stuff. The ability to slow the traveling speed of many other humans, driving behind them. Bad omen. They could open tightly closed jars and change out tires on the aid of the freeway. They could predetermine a superpowered child's future with 2 words of power: hero or sidekick. They got OK Zoomer. In a snap, they had the power of ruining a world. They have the power of starting every conversation with "back in my day." The ability to destroy all electronics. They saved enough money to make the next generation rich. Age. Level 40 boomer, almost broken lawnmower and white claw combo. Get off my lawn, stupid kids. Deals drop of mental health by 5, nature of yelling attack, 5 hearing damage, nature of sonic based attack, and makes all affected miss 1 turn because of debuff, don't get caught. Affective anger based attack. Adds buffs to all affected for 2 rounds after they return to field. Excited, adds 3 to speed and 1 extra attack per round, and annoyed, plus 2 damage, and plus 5 mental hardening. Subtracts mental health damage from attacks. The ability of infinite knowledge and pollution of Earth. Howitzers and a couple of old B-29s. The ability to release a shockwave that destroys all gaming devices within a 100-meter radius. The power of ignorance and idiocracy. When they die, they release an explosion bigger than 4 Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs combined. They also release lots of radiation which will make the area uninhabitable for more than 50,000 years. Basically, goblins. They brought on the computer age. Destroy a planet in an instant. They have the power to pause online games. They could figure out 150 ways not to use a phone in less than a minute. Ability to know right from wrong. It's a dying art. Feeling inferior despite having to count on their offspring as free teach support. To shoot babies from their hands. Making young lives better, then complaining about it. Hating their husband or wife and telling you to not play video games. The power of incorrect political opinions that would make people's heads explode indirectly. One superpower that boomers would have is arthritis. Destiny theme intensifies. To literally annoy people, and some being named Karen, and not vaccinating their kids, and getting OK boomer red. Scorn and the ability to consume all of the resources around them regardless of need or effort exerted to gain said resources. But mostly scorn. They're able to destroy the dreams of a McDonald's employee who put the wrong toy in their grandkid's Happy Meal. Power of disappointment. Only the most special of the most special ones had that, and that was such a godly superpower for them, connecting to Wi-Fi. They had the power to walk to school and back. They're probably going to call all of us boomers because all we do is drop bombs on each other. They wield their blades cursed with the power of economy ruination and price inflation against the generations they have a hate boner for. They had the power to be rid of their failures by passaging them onto their descendants.